Hi everybody, how you doing? It's been a week and I just want to ask you a quick question. I've got a special guest today, that's the important thing to remember. Special guest, and I'll introduce you to them in a minute. But before we get on to that, have you had somebody in your garden? Have you been to somebody else's garden to sit with somebody and say hello? I keep hearing people saying how brilliant it is to be able to actually see a real face again and sit and talk. So I want to encourage you guys, if you haven't done it yet, try. And if you're somebody who's able to get out and about, think of somebody that you know, either in the fellowship or outside of the fellowship, somebody on your street maybe. Go and pay them a visit, if they want one, that is. Check with them first. And it's a real blessing to be able to meet and have a conversation face to face with people. So let's make the most of this opportunity. Now, I'm going to come round to the other side of the camera and then take it to meet our special guest this week. Okay, this is Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hiya.
Mike lives next door to me with his lovely wife Shelley, and Mike is one of the kindest, most generous people you are ever likely to meet. And he's forever passing treats over the fence to our kids, so the kids of course love him to bits. And Mike's a really happy guy, but why are you even more happy than usual today, Mike?
Because I'm helping people again.
You are? But something special happened that you've been waiting 30 years
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
What's that? What
Liverpool
happened?
won the Premiership.
So Mike's a Liverpool. I'm surprised you're not wearing the shirt and the hat and the scarf now, Mike, but
Yeah, when the weather gets worse.
that's great. I'm really pleased for you and your team. Now, I'm going to back off a little bit so you can see what Mike's helping me with today as my special guest. Mike's going to saw up these pieces of wood. It's a really good way for me to get some free work done. So that white piece there is the piece that's the right size, and Mike's just going to saw up these planks. Thanks, Mike. Now I'm going to tell a story while you do that, Mike, so you just get busy and I'll waffle on. I heard a story about a church in America, and at this church they'd saved money to make a new building for them to meet in and do all their community stuff, and the pastor was super keen to help with the building project, but he had absolutely no building knowledge or understanding whatsoever. Eventually he persuaded the foreman, who didn't really want to let him loose on the site, to let him help. So he said, okay, look at all these bits of lumber, I want you to saw them all to 8 foot. So the builders went home, the pastor arrived, keen as mustard to do his job, and what happened was that he worked so hard through the evening and late into the evening, in fact, he managed to cut all 200 pieces of wood that he had been asked to cut. Tired and thrilled, he went home. So he was a little bit disappointed when he came back the next day to find the foreman shaking his head. And what this poor guy had done is, and it's what Mike has done, I asked him to do it deliberately because Mike wouldn't normally make this kind of mistake, is he used the template for the first cut, but then he used the piece of wood that he cut to cut the second piece, and he used the second piece he cut to measure and cut the third piece, and so on, right through these 200 pieces of wood. Now, you might think, well, so what? But actually, if you cut a piece of wood like that using not the template but the copy, you're actually fractionally out each time, and if you multiply that out over a couple of hundred pieces of wood, you end up with pieces of wood that are about a foot longer than they should be. Now, why am I telling you this? It's because I really want to encourage us all to look at our template, and that is Jesus. And it's, in a way, it's no good us comparing ourselves to the last generation of followers of Jesus, or anybody else from history, in fact, or the church down the road, okay? Because we're not actually comparing ourselves to the template. So what I want to encourage us to do in this time is to go back to that original template, and you'll find that in the Gospels. I want to encourage us to look really, really hard at that original template, that model that Jesus gave us. Listen to these words of Jesus as Mike continues to crack on with the job. It's from Matthew 11, verses 28 to 30. Are you tired? Worn out? Mike's laughing. I don't mean you, Mike. Burned out on religion? Come to me. This is Jesus saying this. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. And that's from Eugene Peterson's paraphrase of the Bible, which we know as The Message. Now, Jesus said things like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he said things like, be perfect, like my heavenly Father is perfect. And he also said, follow me. Now, I don't think that Jesus said these things and then took a step back to have a laugh at us as we make a complete mess of the job. I actually believe that he did it so that we would learn to take that journey with him. And see, look, there's Mike measuring up the original template with the last piece, and it's about how much out is it, Mike?
About a centimetre and a half.
About a centimetre and a half. Which is why we need to refer back to that original template for our model. No, Jesus doesn't want us to just have a go while he's watching, thinking, having a good old laugh at the fact that we haven't got it right. I think Jesus said this because he wanted us to embark on this journey of following him, learning from him, and actually the joy and the blessing would be in the journey of doing it as we go and as we learn. So I want to encourage you guys to get to a gospel, have a look at Jesus, and let's learn from his way of doing things. I'm just going to pray a short prayer now before I say goodbye. Jesus, we want to thank you that you came and you showed us an amazing way to live. And Lord, whilst it may seem impossible to truly live the way you did, we know that you didn't set us an impossible task. That this is what you intended for us, to take this journey with you and discover all the joys in it, the blessings in it, through the challenges that it brings. Lord, I ask that you would show yourself to us afresh as we take another look at you in your word. Amen. Bless you guys, and I'll be in touch again next week. Bye.